Behind the allure of fame and fortune, allegations of untalented performances followed some of the brightest names in showbiz, threatening their reputations and distorting their legacies. What happened when beauty and charm were perceived as substitutes for substance? Today we dive into the stories of 10 Hollywood icons from its golden age who were accused, allegedly, or through rumors, of lacking acting talent, revealing how they persevered and the true legacy they left behind. Number 1. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn, the epitome of Hollywood glamour, entranced audiences with her radiant beauty and enigmatic charm. Her performances in iconic films like Some Like It Hot
You the replacement for the bass and sax?
That's us, and I'm Daphne.
and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes
For a man who lives and gives expensive.
solidified her star status as one of the most recognizable faces in cinema history. But her rise to fame was shadowed by doubt, with many critics labeling her as a one-dimensional talent whose beauty eclipsed her acting skills. Rumors spread that her parts hinged more on her alluring presence than any genuine ability to perform.
Happy to be back. As I said, it's my hometown.
Yes.
Well, you're a happy girl now. When you go to London?
Monroe didn't take the criticism lightly. Determined to prove herself, she committed to studying under Lee Strasberg at the renowned Actors Studio. It was here that she delved into the craft of method acting, pouring herself into a pursuit of honesty and depth in her performances. In Bus Stop, Monroe delivered a profoundly layered portrayal that silenced many of her early detractors. Her vulnerability and effort transformed public perception of her as more than a glamorous celebrity. Tragically, her untimely demise at 36 meant she never fully had the opportunity to explore the dramatic roles she longed
What
for.
occurred to me is the importance of recognizing that in the death of Marilyn Monroe, she has unwittingly and
Still, her legacy endures as a misunderstood talent, a gifted actress trapped beneath an unfair focus on her outer beauty, longing to be truly seen for her inner artistry. Number 2, Jane Mansfield. Jane, with her bombshell looks and larger-than-life persona, was one of the most recognizable faces of 1950s Hollywood. Known for comedies like Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, she leaned into her sex symbol image with a tongue-in-cheek humor that made her unforgettable. However, the industry often reduced her to this exaggerated image, dismissing her as a walking publicity stunt rather than a credible actress. While adored by fans, critics took her ample use of gimmicks as proof of a lack of acting substance. Mansfield, however, was much smarter than people gave her credit for.
Do you find it at all disagreeable to find yourself, and quite often your family, on more or less...
A passionate drama student with a sharp wit and high IQ, she was dedicated to her craft and worked hard to improve her acting. She even won a Theatre World Award for her performance on Broadway in Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. Although Hollywood typecast her as the blonde bombshell, Mansfield tried to expand her range, though she often didn't receive the opportunities she deserved. Her shocking death at just 34 cut her career short, but in recent years, her comedic timing, intelligence, and charisma have been reassessed, painting a more complete picture of an actress whose talent far surpassed the stereotypes she was pigeonholed into. Number 3, Lana Turner. Dubbed the Sweater Girl after her breakout role in They Won't Forget, Lana became Hollywood's ultimate symbol of glamour and beauty. With her golden hair and stunning features, she was the embodiment of 1940s elegance. Her performances in films like The Postman Always Rings Twice cemented her status as a star, but lingering doubts over her true acting ability followed her throughout her career. Critics were quick to categorize her as a star better suited for magazine covers than challenging dramatic roles. Turner refused to let the skepticism derail her ambitions. She actively pursued opportunities to showcase her dramatic abilities and proved her range in films such as Peyton Place.
You really want to kiss me, don't you?
Why do I?
Tell me how much.
Video.
Tell me.
Which earned her an Academy Award nomination. In addition to tackling emotionally demanding roles, Turner became the face of resilience, weathering significant personal scandals that could have derailed her stardom. Instead, she turned each challenge into fuel, evolving into not just a Hollywood icon, but an actress deserving of admiration for her sweeping performances. By the time her career waned, Turner had silenced her detractors, standing tall as a legend who redefined what it meant to succeed in the face of relentless scrutiny. Number 4. Audrey Hepburn. Few stars shine as brightly or enduringly as Audrey Hepburn. Beloved for her grace, charm, and iconic roles in films like Roman Holiday and Breakfast at Tiffany's, she embodied elegance in its purest form. Her doe-eyed beauty enchanted viewers, while her understated performances made her feel relatable. Yet behind her international acclaim lay whispers among critics who argued she lacked the dramatic intensity of contemporaries like Katharine Hepburn or Bette Davis. Some question whether her allure would have held had she not been so effortlessly stylish. Hepburn responded to these critiques with characteristic poise, channeling it into growth as an actress. She displayed an artistic courage few acknowledged at the time, taking on the dark psychological thriller Wait Until Dark and delivering a standout performance of a blind woman in peril. Hepburn balanced her career milestones with extensive humanitarian efforts, becoming a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. Through it all, she carried herself with a quiet perseverance, silencing skeptics. Today, her legacy is one of unmatched beauty combined with a genuine depth that not only redefined stardom, but also transformed lives, both on and off the screen. Number 5. Tyrone Power. Tyrone's chiseled jawline and dashing good looks made him one of the most bankable stars of the 1930s and 1940s. Known for iconic films such as The Mark of Zorro and The Black Swan, he became Hollywood's quintessential swashbuckling hero. However, his undeniable appeal led some critics to dismiss him as a purely visual star. Power's dramatic ability was often questioned, especially as audiences labeled him as more of a romantic figure than a performer with range. Power bristled under the typecasting. He longed to prove that he could take on more than beautifully shot action films. In pursuit of greater challenges, he signed on for complex and demanding roles, most notably in Witness for the Prosecution, adapting seamlessly into deeply dramatic material. This marked a point of vindication. His performance was celebrated by audiences and critics alike, cementing his place among Hollywood's finest. Although his untimely death at the age of 44 robbed the world of his full potential, Power's legacy lives on as an actor who wore his good looks with grace, but possessed the skill and artistry to rise far above surface-level assessments. Number 6. Tab Hunter. Tab, with his golden boy allure and contagious smile, rose to fame in the 1950s as a teen idol who embodied the era's idealized masculinity. Breakout roles in films like Damn Yankees and Battle Cry propelled him into the ranks of Hollywood's most sought-after stars. With his clean-cut looks and polite charm, Hunter became a heartthrob overnight, adored by millions of fans. But his meteoric rise came with its fair share of criticism. Detractors claimed that he was more of a carefully manufactured product of the studio system than a genuine acting talent, alleging that his appeal began and ended with his flawless appearance. Despite the skepticism, Hunter was not content to simply coast on his looks. He worked to showcase his versatility, even branching out into music. As a recording artist, he scored a #1 hit with Young Love, further proving that there was more to him than just his acting roles. Nevertheless, his career trajectory often made it difficult to escape the confines of typecasting. Later in life, Hunter reflected candidly on the pressures of keeping up his public persona, particularly as a closeted gay man in an era when personal revelations could derail a career. His decision to embrace authenticity and share his story through his memoir demonstrated courage and resilience. Ultimately, while his early performances may have had their critics, Hunter proved through his multidimensional career and reflective spirit that he was more than just Hollywood's golden boy. Number 7. Debbie Reynolds. Debbie, the effervescent starlet who became America's sweetheart, dazzled with her multifaceted talents in singing, dancing, and comedy. Her breakthrough in Singin' in the Rain established her as a standout star, adored for her vivacious energy and irresistible charm. Over the years, her warm persona made her a mainstay of lighthearted comedies and beloved family musicals. Yet the very same traits that endeared her to audiences led some critics to question her dramatic acting range. While acknowledged as a magnetic performer, Reynolds was often dismissed as lacking the depth to carry weightier, serious roles. Determined to break away from these narrow perceptions, Reynolds eventually landed more complex opportunities. Her powerful performance in The Unsinkable Molly Brown earned her an Academy Award nomination, silencing many of her skeptics and demonstrating her ability to balance comedic exuberance with emotional intensity. Beyond her roles on screen, Reynolds became a unifying symbol of resilience in her personal life, preserving the legacy of Hollywood while overcoming trials that might have shattered others. From saving historic memorabilia to weathering financial turmoil and heartbreak, Reynolds showed that her success was no accident, but the result of boundless determination and talent. Her enduring impact extended well beyond musicals or lighthearted roles, redefining her as a Hollywood treasure with immense heart and skill. Number 8. Anne Margaret. Anne Margaret emerged onto the Hollywood scene in the 1960s like a whirlwind, captivating audiences with her explosive energy and magnetic presence. Her memorable performances in Bye Bye Birdie and Viva Las Vegas quickly earned her fame as a vivacious entertainer whose singing, dancing, and charisma were unmatched. However, as her star continued to rise, so too did criticisms of her acting skills. Many in Hollywood viewed her as a dazzling performer whose looks and talent in music overshadowed any real potential for dramatic acting, confining her to roles that emphasized glamour over substance. Anne Margaret, however, was not one to let herself be confined by expectations. She was determined to evolve, undertaking more serious, nuanced projects to prove her capability as a dramatic actress. Her stunning performance in Carnal Knowledge marked a turning point in her career, earning her critical acclaim, a Golden Globe Award, and an Academy Award nomination. Critics who had dismissed her as just another showgirl were forced to reconsider her talent and range. This transition from a vibrant yet underappreciated entertainer to a sophisticated and respected actress showcased her ability to shatter stereotypes. Anne Margaret's triumphant reinvention not only cemented her legacy as a layered performer, but also proved that tenacity and self-belief are stronger than even the harshest criticisms. Number 9. Joan Crawford. Joan, one of the most enduring icons of classic Hollywood, spent her early years fighting to be taken seriously. In the 1920s and 1930s, she was known primarily as a stylish young beauty who excelled in playing flappers and ingenues, roles that capitalized on her flair for glamour rather than her dramatic ability. Critics viewed her as more of a commodity, a starlet molded by the MGM studio system and valued for her looks and fashion sense rather than her skill as an actress. Though immensely popular, Crawford's performances in her early career were often dismissed as superficial or overly reliant on her striking appearance. But beneath the polished exterior was a protege of tireless determination and ambition. Crawford worked relentlessly, studying her craft and taking on more complex roles that showcased her emotional depth. Her efforts were rewarded when she transitioned into more substantive characters, culminating in her Oscar-winning turn as the title role in Mildred Pierce. This performance catapulted her from glamorous starlet to commanding talent, earning her a place among the greatest actresses of her era. Her ability to endure public scrutiny and reinvent herself time and again ensured Crawford's legacy would be tied not just to style, but also to the iconic strength of her performances. Number 10. Victor Mature. Victor's striking looks and commanding screen presence made him a beloved leading man of the golden age of Hollywood. Known for his roles in epics like Samson and Delilah and The Robe, his popularity was undeniable. Yet throughout his career, Mature endured the dubious distinction of being labeled Hollywood's beautiful but wooden actor. With his chiseled physique and intense gaze, often center stage, many critics dismissed him as little more than visually striking, questioning his ability to bring depth to his performances. Rather than take offense, Mature handled the critiques with humility and a sense of humor. He embraced his public image as the handsome, tough guy, while continuing to land roles that demonstrated his ability to carry substantial films. In noir dramas like Cry of the City, Mature showcased his ability to deliver subtle, layered performances that hinted at a greater depth than his detractors acknowledged. Over time, his efforts to take on varied roles and expand his range helped him move beyond the constraints of typecasting. Mature's legacy may forever be linked to his physical appeal, but his self-awareness, versatility, and willingness to laugh at his own image added to his charm, proving he was more than just a pretty face. These actors endured whispers, rumors, and prejudice in an industry that often prioritized perfection over humanity. Yet they proved their worth through dedication and unforgettable performances, leaving behind legacies that inspire admiration even today. Which of these stories challenged your views the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. See you on the next one.